In this 15-minute video presentation, I'll be detailing a proposed business plan. Firstly, I'll be looking at entrepreneurship skills and approaches and how they lead to creativity within enterprise. In business terms, an entrepreneur is an individual who manifests a business idea on their own and who bears all the risk and reward that comes with it. The word enterprise is believed to have several meanings, however, as stated by Blunden and Lockett, as to whether it's used as a noun or rather as an adjective. As a noun, it translates into the creative or specific business innovation. However, as an adjective, it can refer to an individual tasking their initiative much broader than a business or entrepreneurial activity on its own. I'll be looking at two approaches to enterprise, first one being the economic approach. The entrepreneur as a manager bears several roles in a business, such as owning the organization, and is independently reliant on bringing innovation into new markets as well as identifying market opportunity. Therefore, the entrepreneur in this approach is primarily financially motivated and focused on financial incentives. The effects of this approach, if it executed successfully, would be providing market efficiency and maximizing investor returns. However, if unsuccessful in enterprising, the effects will be detrimental financially, leading the individual to be in a lot of debt from the initial investment. This approach, in regards to the nature-nurture debate in enterprise, slightly leads to the nurture side, as in most cases, individuals don't just wake up and become entrepreneurs. It requires a consistent drive of a person, which in most cases involves promotion and delegation beforehand from previous subordinate positions within a business. Secondly, I'll be looking at the psychological approach to enterprise. This theory very much is on the nature side of the debate, as the approach believes the characteristics and traits of entrepreneurs to be innate drives inbuilt in them from birth. Blundell summarized 6 traits most commonly used by entrepreneurs, which included the need for achievement, which basically means in any motivated individual, they are primarily focused on winning and want to be the best at all times. Over-optimism, risk-taking tendencies, and the desire for autonomy. In the desire for autonomy, the individual, in this case being the entrepreneur, has an internal locus of control. This means that they do believe that they are responsible for what happens to them and don't tend to blame other people for their fortune. I'll give a general example for this. If a boy failed his exam and has an internal locus of control, he would have probably said that he didn't revise enough for it. However, if he failed his exam and he had an external locus of control, he could have possibly said that his teacher didn't teach him properly. Further, I will be looking at creativity within enterprise. Creativity is the ability to translate imagination into ideas and information. Basically, it's the ability to create a new way of doing things through innovation. This could be applied within business and enterprise, as an entrepreneur would need to take a creative idea in order to innovate it and project financial reward. As shown in the diagram, there are 3 components of creativity. First one being expertise, which is technological, procedural, and intellectual knowledge. Creative thinking skills, which is how flexibly and imaginatively a person can think. And motivation, which basically it states that intrinsic is more effective than extrinsic. In the second part of this 15-minute video presentation, I'll be detailing my move into entrepreneurship personally. Over a year ago, my friend Finn and I actually came up with an innovative idea on a clothing line with more than just designs, but a meaning behind it. The brand is called Know, Air, Breathe. Unlike brands such as Nike and H&M, which have their names simply just for the sake of having them, We believe our brand to be especially innovative in the market of clothing lines, as the name can be translated into several perceived meanings. For example, the abbreviation NA can be perceived to be no air, which is a short form of no air breathe, non-applicable, and further, we believe this name to be especially innovative, as it could also be translated into the physical presence of the business, which is literally no air, which is literally non-applicable, as it's an online company only. Further in on my move to entrepreneurship, I'll be detailing factors encouraging and discouraging my move. There are several motivators for starting a business generally, easily broken down as pull and push influences. Some pull influences that affected my move were turning a passion into a business. At the time in A-levels, we all found clothes to be our passion and always wanted to look good wherever we are, no matter the time. Another factor would be financial incentives. As we were at A-levels at the time, we were in boarding school, so we pretty much had no time really to actually get a job and make our own money for a change. However, push incentive encouraging my move to entrepreneurship would be unemployment, as we had no jobs at the time, as stated earlier. However, factors inhibiting and discouraging my move potentially to entrepreneurship would have been resources available. Innovation is an especially costly activity to carry out, and in most cases would take a long time to pretty much just break even from the initial investment. Another factor that could negatively affect the move to enterprise could be limited promotion, which was affected by us heavily to bring about awareness of our brand. This is primarily as we did start it up in A-levels, so we didn't really know the right people to talk to. So we just ended up selling it to whoever really was interested within the school premises. And that's how we pretty much started up. In the third section, finally, of this assignment, I'll be looking at my potential as an entrepreneur. In this section, I'll be looking at several tools that I could use to assess the feasibility of my enterprise. In doing so, I'll need to evaluate the competitive rivalry, and a perfect tool to use for this would be Porter's 5 Forces. Porter's 5 Forces to competitive rivalry starts with the threat of new entrants, which could be the number of how many there are and cost advances they could possibly have on my business. Threat of substitutes, which is a heavy factor in this, as competitors could charge their alternative products slightly lower than mine, therefore increasing the demand for their products. Bargaining power of buyers. So in this, market analysis could be done to discover trends within employees to reduce the bargaining power within them. Bargaining power of suppliers, which is the manufacturers, as basically they could charge higher prices for lower quality, and depending on the business, if they were able to spot that out in order to change the supplier, really. Timing of turnover could also be an important factor in the bargaining power of suppliers, as if the turnover time from the manufacturer is too long, then it could possibly affect the business due to demand. Further, in assessing the feasibility of my enterprise, I'll be looking at market statistics. The clothing market is especially large in the UK, therefore it's essential to target the segment of the market that will be most attracted to the products. Some of the largest fashion companies in the UK consist of ASOS, Sports Direct, House of Fraser. Their annual sales amount to 1.15, 2.8 and 1.5 billion pounds respectively. Market analysis could be done in this little statistics box to show that unemployment rates in fashion industries is especially high. Since employment rates are high, it could therefore mean that it could be possibly easier to find employees who will be willing to work for the company. Also, it does show in the product range statistics that The retail sale of clothing is especially higher than the sale of footwear, leather goods, and other apparel. I do go on to further justify the feasibility of my business, solely for the reason that it's an online business. This immediately reduces costs, as there will be no rent to pay monthly for a physical location. It will be further beneficial as today we live in a digital society, and with the help of new technology such as the Amazon drone, it will make it especially easier for businesses like mine, for their customers, or to sell our products to our customers, for them to receive literally on their doorstep within a matter of hours, potentially. Further, No Air Breathes' potential as an enterprise could be enhanced if resources were invested into the promotion to enhance the innovation behind the brand name and the meaning of the brand. The design of the hoodie can also be a further selling point, as very rarely do you get a design which is explained rather than illustrated, as seen in the wording in the front of the hoodie. We do take pride and believe this to be different from other brands, as in most brands, their designs are mainly illustrated, mainly drawn pictures, rather than simply just words, which is bold and does stand out. Further on feasibility, we are able to use certain social media sites such as Instagram to promote our business. However, I do have to modestly admit that the feasibility of this business plan is limited, as we only do sell t-shirts and hoodies at the moment, as we are a startup business. In order to overcome this limitation, however, we would need to diversify our products range into a much wider range, selling other fashion clothing products such as shoes, hats, scarves, to increase our product range and also to inevitably increase our customer range, our customer base, and also increase our customer loyalty. Limited resources available would also be a factor in reducing the feasibility of the enterprise, as it is shown through the market analysis that other competitors such as ASOS and Sports Direct are decades ahead in terms of capital and resources available to carry out their business activities. Overall, I do believe the proposed business plan of No Air Breathe to be especially feasible due to the fact that it's a solely online business, therefore reducing the initial cost, due to there being no store, therefore being no rent, and further the innovation of the name No Air Breathe due to the several number of perceived meanings it could have.